A tiny frog, wearing a business suit, hops through a miniature city made of mushrooms and teacups. He's on his way to work, but he's running a little bit late. Up ahead, he can hear the rhythmic chugging of a tiny steam engine. That must be the morning train. He hops up onto the tracks, just as a miniature train made of beetles passes by. He looks at his tiny wristwatch and sighs. It's going to be a long day. As he walks through the forest, he sees a little girl sitting on a toadstool. She's crying. "Excuse me," says the frog. "Is everything okay?" "Oh, my little mushroom house," she says. "That's been blown over by the wind, and now I don't have a home." The frog takes a good look at the forest. There isn't a single mushroom house around. "This little girl is lying?" "I'll help you," says the frog. "Hop on my back." The girl climbs onto the frog's back and he begins hopping through the forest until they come across a clearing. In the middle of the clearing is a large tree stump. And on top of the tree stump is the biggest mushroom the frog has ever seen. It's covered with ivy and moss, but it looks like a nice place to live. "Sizzle. Be your new home," says the frog. There. The girl jumps off the frog's back and begins making a house out of the mushroom. She makes windows out of pebbles and a door out of a dried leaf. The frog watches her for a moment. Then he turns and hops back into the forest. As the sun begins to set, the frog sits down on a log to take a rest. It's been a busy day. Suddenly, a snail slithers past him. "Hey, slow down," says the frog. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" "I'm on my way to work," says the snail. "I'm a mailman and I have lots of letters to deliver." The frog thinks for a moment. He could use a little exercise. "Can I walk with you?" asks the frog. "Sure," says the snail. Together, they begin walking through the forest. The snail leaves a silvery trail in his wake, which the frog follows. They pass by a family of deer who are taking a nighttime stroll. They pass by an owl who is wise and old. And they pass by a little firefly whose light is beginning to fade. Finally, they arrive at a cluster of mushrooms. This is where the snail lives. The frog takes a deep breath. He's never been so tired in his entire life. "Thanks for walking with me," says the snail. "You're welcome," says the frog. "Good night." The next morning, the frog wakes up early. He'd like to sleep in, but he has a lot of work to do. As he walks through the forest, he tries to make it to work on time. But every time he looks at his tiny wristwatch, he sees that it's broken. The hands are spinning wildly, and the second hand has fallen off completely. He arrives at work late again, but no one says a word. All of his co-workers are staring at their tiny wristwatches in disbelief. The clock on the wall has stopped working. Without their watches, the beetles don't know what time it is. They ask the frog to fix their watches, and the frog does his best. But no matter how hard he tries, he can't get them to work. Just when he thinks he's done his best, he hears a familiar voice behind him. "Need some help there, Froggy?" It's the little girl from the mushroom house. She's holding a tiny wrench in her hand. "How did you know I needed help?" asks the frog. "I heard you talking to those beetles," says the girl. "Don't worry, I know how to fix a watch." The grill takes the watches and gets to work. One by one, she fixes each watch until they're all working perfectly again. "Thank you so much," says the frog. "You're very welcome," says the girl. "Now, do you want to go play?" The frog and the girl spend the rest of the day playing until the sun goes down. Then the frog returns home, happy and tired.